Good evening. Welcome back to the Golden Lions Den. I'm gonna kind of stick to that. I was also thinking the Golden Lions layer, like a lion's lair, like that. Also working on that. Anyway, welcome back. So very excited. It almost feels sometimes like I get excited with my athletes. I have one of my athletes that I worked with quite a while ago that was winning shows, winning overalls, coming back to the bodybuilding world. He's done enough of the boring normal life, so I'm excited having him back. You'll probably see things coming up for him soon. And again, also new athletes, seeing great changes. Of course, check in with me with small stuff. The small stuff is you're gonna ask me, always get me asking kind of the stupid things, or that we consider insignificant, but it's the small things, being consistent with those that will get you to success. So you're gonna hear me talk about those. Okay. Anyway, it always kind of reminds me of giving it your all. I always, one of the things that I, used to make shirts for Supreme Sport and stuff, was it's all or nothing. It was kind of a motto. And it's not about if you win. It's not that if you don't win, it means nothing. That second and third is not good. That's not at all what it means. It's about giving your all or nothing. Whenever you're doing something. That also comes with being mindful, being present in the moment. That I'm always kind of reminding athletes of. Being present will keep you grounded, will keep that feeling of being grateful every day. Will also instill that, as kind of your tempo that you move at throughout the day. We don't want you up and down with your moods, being irritated and things like that. We want you consistent, okay? So it's all or nothing. It's with athletes coming back, athletes leaving, athletes retiring, athletes just starting their careers. You're always kind of reminded about the phases we all go through. That's why sometimes when athletes start out, when they, depending on age, let's say younger, when they start out, it's always exciting to see them kind of already on the right path. And then you also get excited if you have athletes that are a little bit older and only now getting into it, and they kind of realize the urgency sometimes. You have to have sometimes an urgency about what you want to do. If there's no urgency, you'll miss some sessions, you'll skip some meals. You know what I'm saying? It's time that you don't get back. And you only realize it sometimes when you've left the sport and when you come back. And it's only when I've seen this over the years from athletes. That's why I'll never leave bodybuilding. I'll always kind of be involved somehow. I don't think I'll ever leave it just because I see people leaving it and then missing it. Really missing the sport, just the passion. And always say bodybuilding is one thing, but it's the transformation that really happens with every individual and athlete that really gets involved. And bodybuilding, you see it because it already requires a very high level of let's say dedication for you to reach success. So it's really testing even at an amateur level. Just kind of, and in most sports, if you want to compete at a very high level, if you work with somebody at a high level, they'll tell you the same thing. It's a lot of it is up to sacrifice, to discipline, to consistency with the things that people might not like to do. Those are the things I'm drawn to. Those things, the things that people don't like to do, I'll do that, but I'll try to make it harder. I'll try to multiply the effort so that I can get better in that. I enjoy grinding my teeth on things. And the one thing that's one thing that really sticks with me with bodybuilding is whenever it gets really tough, that's the part I love. And all the other sports I'm involved with, it's the tough, it's the nitty gritty. That's the stuff I like. So that's the kind of mindset that you always have behind me as a coach, and the athletes feel that. Some of them like that. I always sound kind of like the wind in their sails, or the energy that kind of keeps them on course. And it is like that, But then you always kind of hope just when an athlete kind of does their own thing for a while, or when they do so, they shouldn't lose, don't lose sight of the goal, And that's the main thing, you know. Don't lose sight of the goal and remain focused and on course, you know. But always great to see athletes coming back. It always gets me kind of excited because, you know, muscle memory in this sport is something. And that's something that you won't lose. It's not like, you know, I used to do a lot of cardio on treadmill. And treadmill cardio is not something you can build up. It's not something you can have in your back pocket someday. If I can walk the shit out of the incline treadmill, that doesn't even help you on hikes much, you know. So it's not really something you can build up. So that's why I've always kind of, let's say, hovered towards other things where I can build skills up that I like, that is also difficult and it's challenging, you know. So that's why, and of course, I'm not saying cardio is bad, but if there's something that you're doing, where I've worked with a lot of various different athletes, dancers, cyclists, long distance runners, and those types of things, we try to change it up a bit, you know, so that it's useful for the transformation that we're busy with. That we can utilize it more effectively. It's like the gym. It's not like everybody uses the gym the same, right? It's not like you're going to use walking or jogging or anything the same. You can really mix and match it up to make it work better for you. So that's what kind of all of you are doing, right? There's things that we've got that's kind of, I've told you, like, these are things that we can work around, you know, a little bit. This is what we can change. And here's things that I'm kind of hard on. These are things that we really can't change. We need you consistent on these kinds of things, because that's what's going to make your journey, actually reach your goal. Otherwise, you'll always kind of miss the mark, you know, and you'll wonder why. And that's the thing sometimes, where athletes wonder sometimes, what's that magic thing? And there's no such magic thing. It's a combination of a lot of things that you're doing right that work together well. Almost like giving a 1 + 1 is 3. If I can spin that bullshit, just meaning that doing one thing right and another thing right, it would even make something else go right too, you know. It's like eating right and now drinking enough water. All of a sudden, you've had other problems that you wouldn't even remember you had when they just fall out of your life, because life is tough enough, you know. We don't need that. So when you are digesting food nicely, your energy is up, that's all great news, okay? I am definitely going to show you a workout tonight. I'm going to check my time, so it's going to be quick. And again, we're going to work on, so I'm not going to show you something tonight. I'm going to talk to you about training calves. So calf training, a lot of people say is genetic. There is some genetic part to anybody, how they build and how your muscles would look, right? But at the end of the day, you can still grow your calves, regardless of whatever nonsense you might have heard. It's not like the muscle or the skin around your calves are from titanium, and you pumping and training your calves will not work. That skin and that muscle will not stretch and will not grow. How do you imagine that is possible? How your superhuman, super calves, that makes no bloody sense at all. Yes, your calves can grow like any other muscle can grow if you're training it correctly. But people are not training them correctly. So the important part about training calves correctly is using your calves. Yes, you heard me right. It's using your calves. And I think for a lot of people that are training calves, that are training it heavily, might feel that maybe that's condescending, if that's the right word to use. Maybe not. Maybe it's maybe I'm teasing a little bit, you know. Is if you're weighing that, putting that thing full weight, doing calves on that, then maybe you're not training calves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you have complete and utter monster calves when you walk into a place? People are like, holy shit, who's that guy? Who's that chick? Like, is that the situation that you're in? Then I'll get like you training like full stack or whatever on a calf machine or anything like that. But anything less than that, that make no fucking sense, you know? With calves, you're kind of focusing on not bending your knees. So I don't want you to lock your knees out. If you cannot keep your knees still, the better alternative would be to lock out your knees, right? If you really, but then again, it's going to put a lot of strain and stretch on the back of your leg and on your hammy, and I don't want that. I want us to just bend the knee slightly. Think 5 degrees. What's that? It's like, it's so little you will almost not see it, right? That's how much you want to bend your knee. Then you want to straighten out your back, lift up your chest, kind of just to have your form right. and then your upper body, right? If you're not doing a seated calf, of course, and then pushing up, and then once you reach the top, people like to hop, like they reach the top and they go down. That's not doing it correctly. What you want to do is up, down, and even if you get a little bit heavier weight, you tell me, look, forcing it up there is just not possible. No problem. Up. You see, kind of just that control. You don't want to hop on that. Okay, so 3 things I think important. That small bend in the knee we want to do, 5 degrees. We want to keep our ankles kind of in the same. You don't want to, and if I'm saying ankles, I don't want you to use your ankles to hop. Okay, so that's why I'm thinking a little bit more stiff around the ankle and focusing on just pushing up with the front of your feet. So when you're pushing up, just using the front part of your foot and kind of pushing away. Pause for a second, slow release. 1 up, 2 down. 1 up, 2 down. I'm not counting 1, 2, you can if you like. I'm saying kind of in a ratio to time, that would be 1 and that'll be 2, a little bit slower down. Okay, so that's how I'm going to kind of help you guys out with calves. That's very important. I can probably show you that, and it won't make no difference if you don't know to bend the knee a little bit. Make sure to push from the front part of your foot, and make sure not to hop using your momentum or your hips or your ankles to bounce on your tendons or the muscle. Okay, we want to focus on really, and you can open up and close your feet a little bit. You can even move them apart a little bit and see how that changes, because everybody's feet, we all walk differently, we do different things, and it's so difficult to say how we would feel when you put your foot down. So essentially play around with your feet, the distance a little bit, nothing over, just a little bit like that, and then of course a little bit open, a little bit closed. Okay, feel around with that, and don't overdo your reps. Always stick 8 to 12. If you're doing more than that, it means you're not doing it correctly, right? Or we need to add a little bit of weight. But again, if you're even training, try and tire yourself out with 12 reps on half of a stack, for example. That'll be a good measuring stick, or a good standard to measure yourself on, trying to use each rep more effectively. That'll be a good thing to keep in mind this whole bloody week. Use every rep effectively.